just as a reminder from last time, that is the outline of the course, and now we are on the annotation of verbal multi-word expressions, and in a sample corpus, we will be using example sentences so that we focus on we be able to be focused on particular examples that are problematic and that raise a lot of questions, and some of them are basically just still open questions, how to deal with certain problems in the annotation. And so it is announced and it is supposed to be a hands-on activity. So at some point you might want to experiment applying the guidelines to your languages and to see how it works and to see what questions it raises, so that we can discuss them together and maybe see if the guidelines work for your language, or if probably at some point you might require some additional language-specific tests, or something in the guidelines might not be quite right for your language. We would like to start with some practice on examples that are already in the guidelines, because they've been compiled from people from all of these languages that are represented in Parsim, and even after Parsim, because the Parsim project is finished a few years ago, but as you can see, the community is still active, and still new corpora developed, the corpora that are already there, they've been extended and so on. So the community is still very active, because we haven't solved the problems of multi-word expressions yet. And the guidelines keep having new editions and so on. So we will start with these guidelines, and I give the floor to Verginica now.
Okay, thank you, Eva. I can share my screen probably. So let's get rid of this. Okay. So first, remember that in the last session on Sunday, I think it was, I was telling you that before starting annotating, we should read the guidelines, because after that we will have to use our common sense of native speakers of a language with respect to different word combinations and their possibility of being multi-word expressions. So for those who are beginners, in the sense that they have not annotated multi-word expressions yet, it's good to go to the guidelines. And as Eva said, the community is active, and if until a few months ago the last version of the guidelines was 1.2, now we already have 1.3 available, which still contains only verbal multi-word expressions. This is also for those of you who are aware of the Parsim corpora, so we have a new version of the guidelines to be in line with the new version of the corpus that is released. So the first exercise that we propose today is to go to the guidelines. And if your language is not represented here, choose a language that you are well familiar with, for instance, English. And go to one category, several categories, and try to understand. Pick an example from there. For instance, I'm in the light verb construction tree now, and because this N button is active, so I can see examples in English for various types and subtypes in the tree. So for instance, whatever is green, remember, are positive examples, whatever is red are negative examples. And you can pick let's say 1, 2 positives, negatives, and try to go through the decision tree and understand why it was classified where it is. As I gave you one example last time as how to go through the decision tree, I was wondering if someone would like to maybe do the exercise and all the others follow. Any volunteer? I don't know if I can see everyone. Oh, most of you. Okay. So would anyone like to pick an example and start from the top of the decision tree and try to find its right class? So what type of multi-word expression it is? No? Shall we start with one and then maybe someone else can volunteer? Let's pick this one here, for instance, to make a contribution. Yeah, we can take this one, make a contribution. And we need to go to the decision tree, to the top of the decision tree. So here, annotation, under annotation process in the guidelines. Yeah, and the first test is to check if there is a unique verb as functional syntactic head of the whole. Remember, our expression is make a contribution, make contribution. And here we have only one verb, namely yes, namely make. So we follow the yes branch. And the second test we apply is to check the dependent, to check how many lexicalized dependents actually the verb has. And in this case, we have only one dependent, contribution. If the answer to this question is yes, yeah, we go to test 3. Is the subject of this of this verb actually lexicalized in this expression? Yeah. So make a contribution. And here we do not have a subject lexicalized. So the next branch we follow is no, and we have to apply test S4. What is the morphosyntactic category of the dependent of the verb? Namely a category. Yeah? And here we don't have a reflexive clitic, a particle, or a verb with no lexicalized dependent. We have an NP. Yeah, so we will have to go to LVC specific decision tree. Yes, because we are here. And here the first test we need to apply is the noun abstract contribution. Yeah. A contribution is an abstract noun, so the answer here is yes, or even if we are unsure, we will follow the same branch. We have to apply this test, LVC1, if we have to test if this noun is a predicative one. And a contribution is semantically expresses a predicate. So in this case, we will have to go yes to, we will have to follow the yes branch. Here, yes, apply another test. The verb subject is the noun semantic argument. So when someone makes a contribution, this someone, whatever the subject is a semantic argument of the noun. So someone contributes to something, yes? So we can say this is indeed a semantic argument of the noun. So we have yes, yeah, we are here. Continue to the next test, which is the next, as we can see them here in the guidelines. Here we need to test the verb semantics, if it is light or not. So if make, in this expression, to make a contribution, has a semantic contribution to the meaning of the whole. Well, this notion of semantic contribution is not quite clear. And if you are not sure, there are some links here that can help with further explanations. So you have here some explanations, and also about this, if you go to frequently asked questions, one of them concerns the, let me see which one. This characteristic of the verb of being, oh no, I think I'm mistaken it with something else. No, there you had only there with the, yeah. So you will have to read here the explanations. And here we have some light verb constructions. Well, I picked up an example randomly now. So some have derivational related equivalents that do not mean the same as the light, such as to make a face or to face, or that have different argumental structure from the light verb construction, such as to have a problem, to be problematic. So we have to test the semantics in different ways in order to be able to decide if the semantics of the verb is light or not. To make a contribution, the expression we chose, we can say that the verb has a light contribution. Yeah, so the main meaning of the expression comes actually from the noun contribution. We have also this synonymy with the verb contribute, derivationally related with contribution. So we can say the answer here is yes, and we go on with the next test. Verb reduction. Try to build an NP without the verb, in which the verb subject becomes the noun's dependent. So someone makes a contribution. Can we say someone's contribution? And yes, we can say this. Yeah, so now we can safely exit the decision tree with a solution for this expression, namely that it is a light verb construction of the subtype full. Remember that the other subtype of light verb construction was light verb construction cause. So when the verb has a certain meaning, namely a causative one. Yeah? We have here the types, LVC cause. To give a headache, yes, you sort of cause someone to get a headache. So this is how we reached the same, thankfully, the same conclusion as the guidelines. If someone else would like now to do the same exercise for another expression here in the guidelines.
First of all,
yes,
do you have any questions?
Are there questions?
There is some kind of echo.
Yes, because we are using the same room, so I will have to stop and mute myself so that Eva can.
I have a question.
Okay. Who was that? I couldn't. Zara.
Can I put it in the chat
Sure.
to avoid the echo?
No. So the question is if the verb so the verb that is derivationally the verb that is derivationally related to the noun in the light verb construction need to be a causative verb in order to form a causative light verb construction, to contribute, to make a contribution. Well, to make a contribution is not a causative construction, is a full LVC. A causative example would be to give a headache, for instance, but here you cannot create. So not all light verb construction pass the same tests. Yeah, so I cannot generalize over this and say that while all those verbs need to be, all those nouns. No, your question was about the verb, if it is a causative one.
Maybe I need to refresh my knowledge
yes.
of the LVCs.
I think that the verb, the noun does not need to come from a causative verb because the light verb has the causativity meaning. It gives the causativity meaning. For example, and that distinction, as far as I remember, for dividing light verbs into full and causative was because there were cases where you have give and have. So, for example, give the right to someone and have the right to do something. And because one was the causative one, but it's still sort of light verb. Give a permission, have a permission, things like that. These are not the exact examples, but the thing was that there were pairs of a causative and non-causative, and both were light verbs coming from the same noun, with the same noun in them. So the causativity was from the light verb, I think.
Yes, thank you.
So would someone like to pick up an example from the guidelines or an example from your own language? If the language is not in the guidelines, let's consider that example and go through the decision tree and try to establish what class it belongs to. First of all, what languages do we have here present? We have Bulgarian, which is already in the guidelines. I can see Albanian, which is not in the guidelines yet. Emanuela, I don't know what language you...
Yes, my languages are Bulgarian and French and English. I was just looking, I was a few minutes late, so I'm a bit behind what you're talking about. And I would like to maybe try, but I'm still in the going through the lists, you know. So that's why I'm not raising a hand.
So all three languages you mentioned are in the guidelines, but we encourage people to annotate text corpus in their mother tongue, or in another languages the proficiency is very high. Gunta, I think it's Latvian, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, it is.
And Aguta the same, I imagine.
Yes.
Okay, so I see that Eva copied in the chat the link to the guidelines.
Just in case if anyone might be missing the link.
So Latvian is not in the guidelines. Hopefully it will be soon. Albanian the same. So would you like us to pick an example from Especially that you work with dictionaries, and I noticed in your presentation that you focused on multi-word expressions of several types. Would you like to try to test one against this decision tree and see what
I'm not sure I'm able to do this like
we can do it together. Just provide an example and give maybe a few explanations. Glossing and translation of that example.
Okay, I'll think about it a minute just to.
And maybe it's better to have it in the chat to be seen by everyone, to see the components, because this helps us to decide. You saw test is how if there is only one dependent or if there are more dependents on the verb. It's one of the first tests we apply, actually. If someone else has another example in mind, or while reading the guidelines, you noticed something striking and you do not understand why it was classified as it is, we can try to understand together as a process of crossing through the decision tree. And after one more example that we do now, we can switch to the sentences that we collected and try to find there some candidates and establish if they are indeed multi-word expressions or and of what kind, or if they aren't. So meanwhile, maybe Gunta Agute, if I mispronounce your names. Okay, so I can see here 3 components to hang by the end of hair. Okay, so from the literal translation you provided,
it was literal translation is this, yeah, meaning I guess not so important now, yeah, or it is. I mean,
it's not important. The
okay.
structure is important. So from the literal translation, I understand that one of those last words is a dependent of the other. So actually, we have only one dependent on the verb, right?
Yes, it is this karaties. It is a verb. Gala, it is noun dependent, and no, end of the hair, yeah. And this matta, it's one hair, like, no, yeah. So it's one dependent here.
Okay, so the first test we apply here. Can you please explain? Because when you explain, you understand things better, actually.
I'm not able to talk today. I will not. I can't see that. No, 2 small letters in this. No, I will not.
Maybe Agute would like
it. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, great.
So the verb is ahead of a whole expression. So yes. So the verb has exactly one lexicalized dependent. Yes, I think.
Yes, that's what I asked before.
Yes.
Yeah, but the literal translation says this actually, yes, that one noun depends on the other. So the verb has only one dependent actually. Okay, so the answer to S2 is also yes.
Lexicalized subject.
So this string combination, does it contain a subject?
No.
No.
Very well. So we go to test. Pay attention to indentation in the tree. So the answer to test S3 was no. Yeah, so you go to test.
S3.
There, yes, very well. Test S4.
What is the morphosyntactic category of dependent?
Right.
I don't know.
So which is the dependent on the verb? Mata or gala?
Gala.
Sorry,
Gala.
gala. Gala. And what is the part of speech of gala?
It
Is
is
it a
noun
noun, a verb? Okay, so
in
it's a
locative
noun.
case.
In what case? Sorry?
Locative.
Locative case. Okay, so what possible answers are there to test for? So reflexive clitic, particle, verb with no lexicalized component, dependent, sorry, an extended NP, or another category. Where can we?
It is NP, some kind of
NP, very well, great. So we will follow LVC specific decision tree now. Yeah? You see that Eva is guiding us there. And here, the first test we apply concerns the semantics of the noun. Namely,
is it abstract now? Well, I don't know. The end. It is abstract.
It is abstract, I guess. Here is not, but end of it is. Yeah.
So see that even if we are not sure, we follow the yes branch. Yeah. Okay, so we will have to apply test LVC1 now. Is the noun predicative or?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't say so either. So if the answer is no, we know for sure it's not an LVC, which means we go back to the main decision tree. So we decided it's not an LVC, but we haven't tested the other types of verbal multi-word expressions. So we get back to this main decision tree here. So if the answer is no, go scroll down a bit. No, apply the vid specific tests now. Yeah, you see, so we are here. And here, the first test concerns let's say the occurrence of the words. Do we have here any cranberry word, namely a word that we cannot find anywhere else in any other combination in the language?
No, they are normal words.
Okay, so the answer to this test is no. We have another test with 2. Does the regular replacement of a component lead to an unexpected meaning shift? Remember that we reached this test even
we can't replace there anything, I guess.
For instance, instead of end, can you say beginning?
No, never.
No, because you changed
totally fixed.
So you have a totally different meaning, yes?
Yes, nonsense meaning.
So in this case, we can say that the answer to this test is yes, actually. Yeah, so, this helps us already classify it as a VID construction, so as an idiom in your language. Would you agree from your lexicographic experience, for instance? Because sometimes, because sometimes we may reach into the same categories that we are used to use, so to say. Some other times we might reach different classes. But at least we have, following this decision tree, we have consistency among annotators for the same language or for different languages.
Yeah, but now we also regard it as idiom, so it was idiom example in our presentation that we
Okay, so further proof, or proof from a different perspective, let's say. Okay, great, thank you for your help. Now, maybe we can look at several sentences, some examples. So we have contexts in which we can sort of, I can't find the word. So we can find a string combination which could be a candidate of multi-word expressions. And now let's switch to Eva.
Okay, so we've selected some examples in English and Bulgarian, but feel free to suggest your own examples and we can go over them together and see, I mean, how we can basically go through this procedure. As you can see, the guidelines are, they're trying, this decision tree is trying to offer an algorithm, how to basically apply this procedure in a more formalized way, so that every time we consider a given multi-word expression, we come up with not a multi-word, we consider a candidate for a multi-word expression, we come up with the same decision whether it's a multi-word expression, first of all, and if it is, then to what category it belongs.
We have a question. Emanuela, you raised your hand.
Yes, I was thinking about, I just thought about this, it's an idiom in Bulgarian. I mean, yes, we have to categorize it depending on the categories here, but it is, I wanted to ask Eva about it. So it is правя си сметката без кръчмаря. It has a lot of words. It literally means to make one's to count one's bill, one's money without asking the owner of the bar, the bartender. Yeah. So yeah, the result is the idea is that beforehand you're calculating how things will go before taking into account somebody else's who is more knowledgeable, maybe. Yeah.
Would you like us to apply the procedure and to see if we come up with this? Because
yes, I was wondering because it's a long phrase. It's and I was not sure where it would fall exactly.
Okay, let's write it here. So. Maria. Okay. So literal translation would be to make my bill without the
Yes, something like this. I cannot find a very good translation in English right now. Without the bartender, something like this.
Yes, but the real meaning is that you make your plans or you do what you do without asking the people that this depends on. So
yes.
Something like that. Yeah, okay. So here I think there will be a few other things that will come up because okay, but let's see. Let's not spoil the fun. Okay, so we applied the first test and the head. Would you like to do it or?
Well, I don't feel very confident, but okay, I will try and you will guide.
Help. Yeah.
Okay, so a unique verb is functional syntactic head of the whole. Unique means here unique by meaning. I mean semantically unique or?
No, it means that one verb in
only one
expression.
Yes, it is only one. Yes. So we go to the next yes to the test 2. A verb has exactly one lexicalized dependent. Well, правя си сметката без сметката, so the bill. And без кръчмаря, I'm not sure about this one, if it is a lexicalized dependent.
As I ask children, when I work with children. When you want to find out the head of a dependent, you ask a question to one word in the sentence. To which word would you ask a question to get the answer bez cărciumaria? So does it depend on the bill or on its head the bill or the make? Does it say something about the verb or about the bill?
Yes, it says yes, it is dependent on the verb. Yes, I think. Yes. So it doesn't have, so here we have no. And now we have to the, yes, VID specific tests. We go there. Okay, so we don't have a cranberry word. All the words can be used in other expressions. Regular replacement of a component, unexpected meaning shift.
This basically means if we change
Yes.
one word, whether
Yes.
that will lead to a completely different.
Yes, I was wondering about, because we can say this in the third person for somebody else, pravi, so they are doing their own, they are making their own bill, etc. But I think that smetkata and bez krachmaria cannot be changed. So
Yes.
except for the person of the verb. So no, here we will have no.
Yes, you can't change. For example, the bartender man, you can't change it into krachmarkata or anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Then we go to the test 3, regular morphological change, unexpected. Yeah.
So the answer actually to V2 is yes, because a regular replacement of a component actually leads to an unexpected meaning. Yeah.
Yes.
So the answer is yes here.
Yes. So we finished the tests. Yes, this is it. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
What was also tricky here, and I thought that, but it's very clearly an idiom here, and that's why we came up with the decision very quickly. But I thought that maybe at some point, because here pravi smetkata is also a multi-word expression, but it has a completely different meaning. Pravi smetkata means to be careful with my money, to be careful with my spendings. But pravi smetkata bez krachmaria has a completely different meaning, a different multi-word expression. So here it's not a nested multi-word expression in a bigger multi-word expression, but just two different multi-word expression. It just happens that part of this one is also a multi-word expression.
Yes, and in fact, the smetkata there, suddenly the presence of krachmaria gives it the first meaning of money bill, meaning to count one's money, and not anymore this kind of privacy smetkata when you have to make, or even plans. When you make plans, you can say privacy smetkata да отида на време, да отида по-късно, по-рано, etc. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else would like to try an example? Okay, let's see some sentences, because basically what we need to be able to do also is to be able to identify the boundaries of multi-word expressions, which is also a big thing, a big problem. As we can see in this example as well, whether we should, because once, for example, in automatic multi-word expression identification, shall we mark just privacy smetkata, or shall we mark the whole one, so that we are sure that we've marked the longest possible, but without basically getting too many components that don't belong. So let's see what sentences we've got here. Let me see, that's the first one. Okay, so here's some sentences in English because that's the common denominator between us. But then I have some Bulgarian examples, but also, as we said, we'll be happy to go over any other languages as well. So, for example, here, do we see a multi-word expression in this sentence?
Take so long, maybe?
Right to vote, maybe.
No.
Or get the right.
Yeah, or get the right to vote. Shall we try? Which one would you like to try? It needs to contain a verb, basically, because we are dealing with verbal multi-word expressions here, the decision tree. Which one would you
Well,
like to?
Yeah, let's do take so long because it's take
Okay.
women so long. Yeah.
Okay, so basically when we're dealing with the sentence, with the corpus, the first step is to identify the candidates that are candidates for multi-word expressions. Then to determine whether they are, but the decision tree basically gives us as output, once you I go over the tree, some of the exits, some of the final states are the decision that this is not a multi-word expression, but this is the same decision tree. So it's not in two steps. First decide it is, and then decide what category it is. But basically you go through the decision trees and do the decision tree, and you either come up with a category for it, or you come up with the answer that it's not considered the multi-word expression. So now we consider take so long, and let's go over the steps. Okay, so the head is a unique verb. And how about test S2? The verb has exactly one lexicalized dependent. Okay. It is one, so then we go to test S3. Is there a subject that is lexicalized within the multi-word expression? We say no. Just scroll. Okay, we're here. Apply test S4. What is the morphosyntactic category of the dependent? So long. Would we classify that as an adverbial or okay, so another category.
Mhm.
Okay, so shall we go to this idiom-specific tests? So is there a cranberry word? No, there isn't. Can we replace a component, or any replacement leads to a completely different meaning? So can we, in this expression, replace any of the components?
Yes.
For example,
No. So long can't be replaced. Take so. No, short, maybe not.
I think that the whole so long can be replaced by an expression of time, or so can be taken out, take long
yes,
is again another one.
that's what I think as well. Because it can take you so long, or it can take you 10 minutes, or it can take you any amount of
Long.
time. Yeah, or it can take you just long. Okay. Do we agree on that? Okay, so if you consider it like that, then the answer would be no. Then the question is there regular morphological change? So if you change the form of any of the components, does this lead to unexpected meaning?
No.
No, here we can't change any they are not. Okay, so they are regular in a sense. So again, no. So morphosyntactic test. Regular, can we do any regular morphosyntactic change that would completely shift the meaning? So morphosyntactic, but as I think here also what we mentioned that we can skip the so and it will still be take so long that will keep the meaning in general. So the answer would again be no. And the final test, whether it's an idiom or not, if we do any regular syntactic change, would that lead to unexpected meaning shift? So, what sort of syntactic change we can't?
Well, I think we didn't take into account women. I mean, the subject of the act of the agent. It take women so long, takes someone so long, and this, so let's say placeholder, cannot be put into any other position in this expression. We cannot say take so women long, or take so someone long, or take. It has to be take someone this time.
So you mean that actually the word order, which is a syntactic aspect, is fixed.
Yeah.
So changing the word order actually leads us to an ungrammatical structure. Yeah. I remember that this is regular syntactic changes we presented on Sunday. So at the syntactic level, there are different aspects. They may or may not go undergo passivization, word order. Remember that example with drink and drive, drive and drink. Yeah. I don't remember.
It was rest on someone's shoulders. Yeah.
Yes, that was the example, right?
Yeah. And I think we didn't take into account as well the it, which is this kind of impersonal subject here. It cannot change place.
Okay, so in that case, we're talking about like identifying it take so long as the multiword expression.
Yeah.
Actually, yes, it's an expletive subject indeed, this one. But you can take the I don't know, the party took so long. So I wouldn't include it in the expression, because here this is actually a placeholder. Because the subject is long, we have that pragmatic principle that tells us that whatever is heavy goes to the end of heavy syntactically. So as a structure goes to the end of the sentence. So the subject being to get the right to vote is long. It's replaced by the dummy it, the expletive subject, and that's why we have it as a subject of the expression. But in other contexts, the subject can be a concrete noun. So a noun, a proper noun, proper in the sense that per se, not as a name of a person. Yeah. So I wouldn't include it in the expression for this reason, because it's a placeholder. I can have any subject, the party, the wedding, the marriage, maybe, or whatever. Yeah.
But also it's not, it is sort of a regular structure in English with this subject. So that might be a reason to consider it, to not include it. It's not lexicalized within the multi-word expression, I would think.
Yes, in the chat, Ivan is providing other syntactic structures. So indeed, instead of it, you can have the gerund used as a subject, getting the right to vote, took women so long. Yeah, so that's a further reason for not including it in the structure, in the expression, in the potential expression.
Here we're still applying test VID5 and discussing whether it's whether we can do any regular syntactic changes freely, or any sort of syntactic change would lead to unexpected meaning shift. If we want to see some examples and some explanations so that we clarify what the answer to this question should be. So for example, here, does a regular syntactic change that would normally be allowed by general grammar rules lead to ungrammaticality or unexpected change of meaning? And the examples here speak of the devil, to go bananas, and so on. So in this case, takes so long.
So we cannot pacify, although take is usually a transitive verb. So long was taken to women. This is not possible. Yes. I think in English, for instance, you can use continuous aspect or tense with this expression. It's taking so long to do something. I consider it grammatically correct in English. But even one example which is enough to decide if it passes or it doesn't pass the test.
Okay.
So yes, the fact that we can take out women, why did it take so long for women to get the right to vote, for example?
It takes so long for women. It is a regular syntactic change which doesn't change the meaning. But
so take so long is again the word order, and I can't think of anything else.
Yes, so for me, actually, it doesn't pass the test here. So it has a regular structure. We saw that lexically it's not fixed. Syntactically, it's not fixed for me, at least. So here, applying the test, for me, it would exit here with a no. But I just I didn't want to I want to see whether you think the same or not.
Yes. My intuition was the same. Yes.
Okay. Anyone any objections to that? Okay, so would you like to suggest a sentence or shall we do maybe one more? That's again with yes, so but you can suggest an example as well. Maybe we can do this one if you want.
Pay a visit.
Or would you like to do an example in your language? Okay, let's do one more example. Let's start from the beginning of the decision 3. Okay, so step 1 is to identify a candidate here. And because the only
Pay the visit.
pay the visit, yes. So that is our candidate. And we start with the decision 3. So would anyone want to have a go? Okay, so the head, the verb is a unique verb is the head. So then we go to test S2. The verb has exactly one lexicalized dependent. And we go to test S3. So is there a lexicalized subject? The answer is no. We go to test S4. Okay, S4, what is the morphosyntactic category of G of the dependent? And it is NP. Okay, so we'll be applying the light verb construction specific decision 3 now. Okay, so applying this this test is the noun abstract visit, not it's an abstract noun. It's yes, it's an activity, it's a predicate as well. Then we go to light verb construction 2 test. Yes, is the subject of the verb, a semantic argument of the noun. So the subject, the queen, is the visiting person. So the answer is yes. So then we apply light verb construction test 3. The verb only adds meaning expressed as morphological features. Pay the visit, so the action is the visit, and the verb only contributes with morphological features. Would anyone object to that? Okay, so then the answer is the answer is yes. So we apply test light verb construction 4. Can verbless NP reduction refer to the same event? So the queen's visit. So the answer is yes. And then we decided it is a light verb construction. Okay. So I think that was a pretty clear example because here paid does not have any sort of any of its regular meanings. So in this case, it was quite clear that it's desemanticized. And we were heading in the direction of light verb constructions. Okay, so any comments, questions?
A remark which is maybe helpful, as Iva showed previously when we were looking at another example, if you click on those tests, LVC2, LVC3, so any number, it takes you to a part of the guidelines where for the respective test, you have further explanations and examples. For instance, if you go to LVC, test LVC1 there, well, among the examples, we also have pay a visit, yeah. But when we were thinking at that test regarding LVC3, there are some explanations there down the page about the contribution of the verb to the meaning of the expression. So there are, for instance, in English, several examples explained. For instance, in to take a walk, take adds no meaning to walk besides that of performing an activity. Make a decision adds no meaning to decision besides that of performing an activity. Yeah? So classifying it as such. And in pay a visit, the verb in its usual sense means to spend money actually on a visit. But here it is not used in this sense and does not add any semantics to the visiting event. Yeah, so we have examples especially, or more examples in English, but other languages also have examples, which can help us to see different ways in which we can understand the text and to make a good decision for a certain expression we are analyzing. So we looked at the tests in the general part of the guidelines, but if you go to one test and the explanations provided there can be more helpful, at least at the beginning. Afterwards, you sort of get a feeling of of the guidelines and an instinct, and you will go through it faster and more easy, much more easily. Are there questions or?
You can suggest some examples in the chat maybe, so we can go over them, or would you like us to show you anything in particular or to explain something to, if you have any questions or on anything that comes to mind from either Sunday or today, or going over the examples or anything that's related to developing your own resources, feel free to ask.
Or from your experience in annotating, I can see that we have people here who joined and who were not present on Sunday. And maybe you already started, you have some experience, and maybe you found something that was difficult. And we can try to think of the example, discuss it. So we have in the chat an example from Emanuela. The English phrase to call it a day. So you're writing, Emanuela, that it's clear it's an idiom, but you don't know under which category it will fall. Okay, let's test it.
Okay, or Emanuela, would you like to try? See?
Yes, well, to call it a day, maybe let's take it without this two in the beginning, call it a day. So we have the verb and it has so here I would say I'm not if it's a question, does it have two arguments? Because call it and call it a day, this a day. We call some, well, this is the complicated part, that we are calling it something.
Yes, there are two dependents. It is the dependent, the direct object,
Yes.
and the day is another dependent, indeed.
Yes. So we have this here the answer is no. So yes, it is not a okay verbal multi-word expression. Okay.
No. So
oh, it's
okay. So we're applying test S2, which asks has the verb has exactly one lexicalized dependent. Okay. And the answer is no. Okay. So it has more than one, right? So we apply
yes. I saw the
yes.
other no. Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you. I was looking at the next one. Yeah.
So we
Okay.
go there. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know
No
if you want to
cranberry
see
word.
more details or any of the tests. No cranberry words. Yes.
Words,
Then
a regular replacement of a component unexpected. Yes. It would lead to an unexpected meaning shift, because if we say call him, call whatever, and something else, call it a night, for example. Yes, it will have an expected meaning shift. Yeah.
okay.
So it
So
was a short one.
yeah.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah.
I found another one. I'm sorry if I'll just write it in the chat, and if somebody else has another.
Okay. Shall we unmute it? No, I'm not. Okay.
But
Shall
now
we
that I look at
start?
it, yeah, now that I look at it, I think it's almost the same.
Okay.
It's not the same. Let's
Okay.
check it.
I was wondering, I was misled by I think by the meaning of it.
Yeah, so here when we the first step is to identify the candidate, the combination of a verb with at least one other verb, with at least one other word, which could form a multi-word expression. But also we are talking about the sort of the minimal lexicalized form of the multi-word expression. So we need to determine the components that are lexicalized as well. So determine which components of the candidate are lexicalized as step 2. And if they are omitted, the multi-word expression does not occur anymore. So here we have this someone, which is basically not lexicalized. It can be it can be anyone. So it can be a pronoun, it can be a noun, and so on, a noun phrase. So here what we need to consider is the lexicalized parts of the multi-word expression is just this one. Okay. Okay, so we start with the tests. Emanuela, would you like to?
Well, yes, we have this verb, unique verb, and then we so I have it's difficult for me with the dependence. So the benefit, I think the benefit is the dependent because of the doubt is defining the benefit.
Yes.
Yes, so it has one lexicalized dependent. The answer is yes. Test 3. Is there a lexicalized subject? Well, I think here the test implied that we try and I mean the test S3 implied that this subject. I'm sorry to ask the whole time, but it's we have to ask. We have to substitute another word, or
S3, okay, let's see S3. It asks whether the subject is within the multi-word expression. So, for example, чашата прелля or a little bird told someone. So these are the types that it's a whole sentence basically. The subject is lexicalized. So it's
yeah, I see. Well, here we don't have this.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay. So we go to no. What's the morphosyntactic category of D? Give something. This is the direct object. So we have extended NP.
Yes.
I was thinking about the light verb constructions. So yeah. So this is it, yes. So the noun is abstract, yes. Is the noun predicative? Can we go to this test, please? Meaning that one semantic argument. Yes, I think. Give someone the benefit. I cannot really define this. I will have to think about this.
Yes. Benefit, someone benefits from something. It is predicative. It's the benefit itself, the thing that is okay.
Yes, it is. Yes, okay. When I compared it with no, I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's.
It is.
Okay. Okay, so we need to go back.
Is the subject of the verb? Yes. Okay.
Yes, and we go to LVC2.
A semantic argument of the noun, the subject of the verb. a semantic argument of the noun. Someone gives the benefit to someone else. Someone gives. Okay.
So the subject, okay, the subject of the noun, so the noun, the benefit, the one who gives is not the one who benefits, right? So that would be no.
Okay. Okay, so it's not a light verb construction. So my intuition wasn't right.
Okay, let's just make, okay, it's, we apply test LVC2. Is the subject of the verb a semantic argument of the noun? A semantic argument. The subject of a verb is, oh, okay, okay. The subject of the verb, the one who gives, is he a semantic subject of the noun? No. And if not, then we go to this test.
Oh, to the
LVC5.
other test. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So is the subject of the verb the cause of the noun?
I wouldn't say, because the benefit is something external. It doesn't cause. So the person giving here the benefit does. But at the same time, maybe it is.
So if John gives Mary the benefit of the doubt, is John the cause of the benefit? Is he the one who causes Mary
Yes,
to have?
yes.
That's how we understand.
Yes. Okay. Yes, well, yes, he is.
And here then we come up with the conclusion that it is a light verb construction cause. However, I'm not sure about that, to be honest, because what we are missing here is that the benefit of the doubt is itself a multiword expression, and it's not exactly in its literal meaning of a benefit. So I'm not completely sure, and as a non-native speaker of English, I can't decide whether benefit of the doubt is very benefit-like, you know, if it's got the literal meaning of the benefit in it, or it's more of like because it gets sort of a benefit by by being given the benefit of the doubt, but it's not in the literal meaning.
Well, you will see that we have different opinions, and it's normal. So for instance, my understanding is that if I give someone the benefit of the doubt, I make that person to have a good image in my eyes. So somehow I am the one who creates this situation that the person has a good image in my eyes. So I would consider it an LVC of the type cause. Yeah, so it's not easy with multi-word expressions. There are sometimes cases where we may have different opinions. Even one person may have a different opinion on the same expression when thinking twice or 3 times and so on.
Yes. Yes, I get it. Yes.
So it's very difficult to model. So even to apply the tests somehow. So to model the tests and to apply them. We have a comment.
Yes, I agree with this comment that the benefit is created by the doubt. It is clearly that. I think in my mind it was clearly that. The doubt is the benefit, in fact.
Yes, yeah, it is. It contains the benefiting part. I'm just not sure how because okay, if we consider the benefit of the doubt as a multi-word expression with a different meaning, which is which has the sense of benefit in it, then the questions before the test for the LVCs, some of them might we need to reconsider them to some extent, whether who is the subject, who is benefiting, who is the what was it? Okay, if we go over them again, and if we consider the benefit of the doubt as a whole, so LVC2 is the subject of the verb, a semantic argument of the noun, then okay, if the subject of the verb is a semantic argument of the noun, as if we consider the benefit, then benefit on itself, so someone receiving this benefit, the subject, the one who is giving it, is not concerned with it, is not involved in that situation, but the benefit of the doubt, having the doubt in it, the one who doubts is the subject. So
and I was
here
starting to think about the beneficial doubt. In fact, the doubt is beneficial to the person. So here we have even other kinds of semantic relations inside in the phrase.
Yeah, so it becomes a more complex situation with more people involved there. So
yes, exactly.
would that actually change the answer? I don't know, because if we answer yes to test LVC2, is the subject of the verb a semantic argument of the noun? If we answer yes, then we need to check whether the verb only adds meaning expressed as morphological features, in which case the answer, because the giving, it contributes with morphological feature, but also it contributes with
semantic ones. Yes.
But isn't this a legal term, the benefit of the doubt? There is a benefit of the doubt doctrine, etc. It's a legal term that is taken for granted here as a whole. And just like we'll take decision to make the expression to make a decision, here just to give the benefit of the doubt. And the benefit of the doubt is a term, which is actually, I don't know. There is some metaphorical sense in it.
yeah.
Because
Actually, yeah, sorry.
no.
Actually, I was checking the dictionary and I cannot find the benefit of the doubt recorded in the dictionary. I can only find the whole expression, give someone the benefit of the doubt. So it could be a term, I don't know if it comes from the legal genre or not. If you know better, Sarah, okay.
I wouldn't say. I've seen it in many contexts.
Not give the benefit, but only the NP,
Yes.
I mean.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Might comes from the
For
legal.
instance, yes.
Mhm.
It is the principle that everyone is innocent until proof
Otherwise.
guilty.
Mhm.
Yes. So this actually means that probably to give the benefit of the doubt is probably a VID because it can have a literal meaning also.
Yes. But it doesn't contain a verb, the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, but it can, for instance, okay.
We have a different nominal classification for multi-word. So for nominal multi-word expressions, it will probably fit there. But we can also have embedded, they are called, right? embedded multi-word expressions, so expressions containing other expressions, here a verbal one containing a nominal one. Maybe the dictionary does not record it because it comes from a certain domain and it is not used as a nominal one in the general language, sorry. Only as part of this expression it is used by people, so by ordinary people in the common language. That's why probably Cambridge Dictionary does not record it. Yeah, so I would treat it as an LVC cause, but we can
Isn't it something like a light verb? Because you can also take maybe the benefit of the doubt.
Say it again, Maria, please.
Meaning to cease to give. Stop giving. Or refrain from giving.
Would it appear with other verbs?
Probably to have, but I'm not sure. To have is mean as a recipient.
Yeah. To benefit from the benefit of the doubt.
That's very pleonastic, isn't it?
Okay, so yeah, we have a complicated case here. So I would imagine that if we apply this, I mean, like a different route, considering the benefit of the doubt. So would you say that in test LVC3, the verb, test LVC2, the subject of the verb to be a semantic argument of the benefit of the doubt?
No, I wouldn't say this. A semantic argument. We can have many subjects here.
No, what is meant is the subject of the verb give. So the one who gives the benefit of the doubt, whether he is a semantic argument, not a subject of the noun.
No.
Yeah. Because if we answer yes to this question, it will probably lead to not being an LVC. So, but if it is not so, here the thing is basically it clearly has some idiomaticity in it. The question here is first whether we should consider only the benefit of the doubt as a multi-word expression and give as a free verb that is just used with this multi-word expression. So that would lead to not considering it a multi-word expression. Or considering it as a multi-word expression, and if we're considering it as one, whether it's an LVC or cause, as we came up with this first decision, or whether it is an idiom.
So if we answer to LVC 2, yeah, as no, then we go to LVC 5. So we are in the same situation as before. We have to decide actually if it is an LVC cause or not. So in case it is an expression, it seems we again have to do it LVC cause. So we end up in the same place.
Okay, so that's a bit reassuring then. Okay, so what else would you like us to go over? Anything you'd like to suggest as examples or any questions? Anyone keen
I
to
saw,
contribute?
may I ask?
Yes.
I saw point 17 multi-word expressions versus metaphors. And I didn't understand what you are marking there.
Sorry, which
it's 1.7.
Okay, so any questions on that? I didn't
Yeah,
understand.
how you mark the metaphorical one, or what are you doing with them at all? There was such example. Someone asked about call it a day.
Yeah, so here these are the preliminary sections of the definitions and the scope. So trying to determine what sort of multi-word expression will be marking, because there are a lot of metaphors. Of course, multi-word expressions, idioms in particular, most of them come from some idioms. Most of them
Metaphors.
come from some metaphors, yes. So, in fact, they are closely related and they are to a large extent overlapping. But I think here the question was to just not mark metaphors that are not that can be like free metaphors, not already assumed in the language as a lexicalized. Here's some examples. To lift dark clouds of stress. No.
To set the
Just-
words on fire, isn't
I
it
think-
just a normal metaphor without idiomatic meaning?
Yeah, without being considered like idiomatic in the sense like with multi-word expression, like some figurative expressions that are basically not yet like assumed as a lexical entry as a multi-word expression.
Is
So
there any
that's
test to make the border between those?
yeah, I don't some of these, I mean, some of the tests will when you consider like the idiom tests, some of them in the examples that we've seen, some of them like you are in between, you don't know exactly what the answer is. So some of these metaphors will fall somewhere there, and for some of them you might decide one way or the other, or in a different way on two consecutive days. So yeah, it's the one of the biggest problems is that it's not clear what the scope is. It's not clear cut. It's not like this is a noun and this is a verb. It's not like that. This is the multi-word expression and this is something else. So yeah, I don't think that this problem's been solved.
I would like to add that some linguists, you know that there, as far as terminology is concerned, not everyone calls the same phenomenon in the same way in phraseology and in multi-word expression, let's say, domain in general. And I liked a lot one term used by one linguist, it's Coșeriu. He called these expressions repeated discourse. So the idea is that once you have a metaphor that is well rooted in the vocabulary of a community, in the sense that we use it frequently, and listeners would understand us as easily when we use that repeated discourse. This means it's no longer only a metaphor. It has become what we consider a multi-word expression. So it has to do with the idea of being known or quite well known by a community of speakers, so that they understand and they use it, with the result of a successful communication among the members of the community. So there is this continuum, let's say, on which we have metaphors tending to become multi-word expressions, and those that are already multi-word expressions and will pass the tests. Usually they are idioms, so VIDs. That's why it's important to be a native speaker, to have a feeling of the language you are working with. So you may know that it's already familiar to others, it's safely used by speakers, so that the communication act is successful. So that would be my advice as far as metaphors are concerned. Sometimes we have lines from poems that have become quite familiar to speakers and are used instead of using a longer explanation, let's say. They quote a certain poet, the metaphor the poet created, and has become well known. So that would be my advice. You can rely on this with metaphors. My advice, my feeling, I would say, as a native speaker of Romanian.
My opinion is that when there is a transparency, it's ordinary metaphor. It's not idiom.
Can you give an example, Maria?
Multi-word expression. Because I have experience with a lot of those, and at first I thought everything is idiom, but now I'm not on that opinion.
Can you give an example?
I'm seeing this set the world on fire. So because I have some experience with multi-word expressions and the verbal one especially. Years ago, I would say this is idiom, everything is idiom. But you can construct it speaking, and the listener can understand it, no matter if he knows or heard this phrase or she. This is not idiom in this case. Not multi-word expression at all. Because you can say to set the world on ice, and although it's not so common and statistically very often used, you understand me, so this is a metaphor.
So I told you that the color codes, green means this is an expression, red means it's not an expression. So here in the guidelines, these are given as examples of verbal multi-word expressions, actually, to set the world on fire, take the bull by the horns. The other two, to dance, so my heart dances with the daffodils and to lift dark clouds of stress, aren't expressions according to these guidelines.
There is no clear border. We're
course.
just discussing whether you have
Sure.
found some
Yeah.
tests which will formalize this distinction a little bit at least.
Emanuela, wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say about metaphors, just maybe this, if it will serve as an insight, because metaphors are felt like real metaphors and like creating new semantic structures when they are created for the first time, or even when they are quoted in another's work. But for, let's say, it's a new thing when they are attached to the original creator and author of the metaphor. But when they have a fixed meaning already, like yes, to set something on fire, it can be literal. Depending on what we set on fire, it can be already a metaphor because we apply metaphorical meaning. But to set the world on fire precisely means only one thing, and it is not anymore considered a metaphor because it doesn't, I mean, it is very direct as a meaning for all English speakers. I mean, they know what exactly it means, and this effect of metaphorical speaking and this creation, this let's say imaginative and figurative language is not more perceived, I think, in this expression. I think that there is the line, the frequency, or the uses, or the author that created it. Maybe when you speak of some literally verses that have been we can quote as already very well known metaphors, etc. I think there is a line maybe that we can draw there when we want to divide between real metaphors and lexicalized multi-word expressions.
What do you think of Ubieram si cruște?
Yes, I do not perceive it as a metaphor anymore. I mean, I don't see how this person literally will, in Bulgarian it means to pick one's pairs. So I'm picking my pairs means to disappear, to flee from one place, and maybe taking things that I did wrong, or not really, but yeah, I decided that I will go away. And I think that it has been maybe at a certain point a metaphor. It still has the core of a metaphor, and I'm okay with this, but it is lexicalized.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that translation is a good test. To set the word on fire has correspondence in Bulgarian with the same words. It's a transparent metaphor. For someone who doesn't know this expression, it's also understandable. So for me, it's a metaphor, although it's statistically often used. But the usage doesn't make it idiom. The lack of transparency is a feature of the idiom. This is my opinion.
Yes, but I also would like to add that we have like semantic transparency, the lack of semantic transparency.
Eva.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. It's only the semantic idiomaticity is only one of the sides, because here when we talk about lexicalized metaphors, we have a fixed form, we have a lexicalized, because you can't like change some of the components even if they're semantically similar. So they are lexicalized in that sense. So for me, that is that is also another feature. I mean, if for a given metaphor, if you can change some of the components, it's figurative, and if you can express it in at least two different ways, then it is still a metaphor, but it is not lexicalized. But here, to set the world on fire, I don't know if you can say with the same meaning to set the world in flames, or to bring the world, or some to make a change, because for me it's already like set with these lexical items.
Well, I still find this idea very tricky also because of confusing metaphor and abstract notions. Like all the abstract notions are a little bit metaphoric in a way. It will still be confusing if we wanted to annotate that in the sense of is it metaphor or just abstract? Like if we said, go to the point, as if the point is something intangible. It is metaphoric because we can imagine a path, but still it's not metaphoric because it's not the same meaning, but because it's abstract.
You mean so? Okay, yeah.
This is why recently in metaphor theory, they are trying not to understand metaphor as if it was just one word for like that resembles something else. But they think that we use what I mentioned yesterday of image schemas together with metaphor to understand the whole idea. So we conceptualize things in abstract things, of course, above all with this thing. So it would still be confusing for me because you have a section to annotate abstract things if it's abstract or not. And it would still be like the limits between abstract and metaphor would not be very clear for me to be able to annotate, for example.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I mean, I would consider any sort of metaphorical thing abstract. But you mean if it's, yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to remember where this. Yeah, it was in the LVC tests. Yeah, but here with because it's the context of light verb constructions, then it will probably be okay. I mean, depending a lot on the verb. But yeah, I don't know if that's. Okay, some questions to think about. It's yeah, multi-word expressions, metaphors, and all of these things are still a big problem. So nothing's, and even, I mean, you work on it and more questions come up instead of like solving solving them. So yeah. And here with the parsing effort, the effort to sort of construct sort of an algorithmic way to decide whether and what type of to classify multi-word expressions. As you can see, it is algorithmic for a human, but it is not formalized enough to apply automatically. So That will be a big challenge to transfer this, even if it is an algorithm, to be able to apply it automatically. And it requires a lot of information that is not there, that is still human knowledge, a lot of semantic information. And as you said, some of the cases are not clear. Is it abstract or is it not? Is it predicative or isn't it? So these are things that are rarely encoded in any lexical resources, and it is still a challenge to provide all this information so that you're able to apply this test automatically. But that's these are the first steps towards in that direction. But these are probably one of the most challenging problems of the language. So yeah. Hopefully you will be passionate about the topic and develop your own resources, and maybe someday we will be solving this problem.
Well, hopefully there will be more research. Yes, but it's a wonderful way to annotate. Like, it's very illustrative. Thank you very much in all cases, of course.
Would we go to the if there are any questions or anything else that you want to see? If not, we can have some final remarks, and at the end we will upload the slides somewhere. We will let you know. They will be on the website, so that you can use the links and the links and the sources that we used and so on. So just as conclusion, understanding the guidelines. So basically they're very practical. There are some, at the beginning, the initial sections are focused on basically the big questions about the scope and so on. But once you get to the decision trees, the guidelines, the largest part of the guidelines are the decision trees and the way they are explained. And as we mentioned, this is an ongoing effort, so it's still, the community is still active and working on improving the guidelines. So if you have anything to add to them or anything to comment on, and especially if you're keen to add your own data to the parsing corpora, you might be following the efforts online and maybe join the community and annotate your own corpus with verbal multi-word expressions. And even if your language is already there, just feel free to see the examples and the theory, and to see whether you agree or disagree with some of the things that are there and with some of the conclusions that are generalized observations on the languages. Try your own examples, see if they work. If they don't, these borderline cases and the problematic cases that we saw today are very important. And although there's not a clear-cut answer, yes or no, this is the way to basically think about the issues and address the question about the scope of multi-word expressions. So think also about the components of the candidate multi-word expressions, like with morphologically rich languages. I think like most of us here are dealing with this sort of problem, and with a lot of analytical tenses and moods, and what is the form of the multi-word expression, what are the lexicalized components, what we consider. It is also a challenge in identifying multi-word expressions in text, to identify the full multi-word expression if the verb has like 3 or 4 tokens for its form itself, to identify the whole boundaries of the multi-word expression. Also syntactic transformations, like for example, passive constructions, how to identify them, how to treat them. In some cases, even the passive is more frequent than the verbal multi-word expression itself. So there might be cases where even we need to consider this as the most frequent form. So for example, when I was looking for examples, there was like give right to do something, give right to, and it was a grant right to someone to do something, and most of the examples that I found were in passive, so where someone was granted this right and that right. So in some cases it's not, it might be also something worth checking. Negation, the same is valid for negation. For determiners, also I would like to mention that there are a lot of derivatives from multi-word expressions, which are also multi-word expressions themselves. So yeah, for example, break someone's heart, heartbreaking, heartbreaker. Yeah, so yeah, money launderers. So which one is the egg and which one is the chicken? Basically, which one was the first one and which one was the derived one? And how do we deal with these in the dictionaries? Do we put everything in the dictionary, or do we have some more efficient way to say, okay, this and this verbal multi-word expression can from it you can derive this and this type of other multi-word expressions, because one, for example, would be a verbal multi-word expression, then the derivative will be also a multi-word expression but nominal this time. So a lot of open questions to think about the multi-word expression, the candidates of multi-word expression that you identify in the text, so that you reach the point where you classify them. So also, as we saw, the problems with the light verbs. So are they light? How light are they in reality? I mean, what is the degree of them losing their semantics or still contributing to the semantics of the whole expression? So, but basically working with a lot of examples, you get your opinion about which verbs you can consider to be light and which are not so light. So this is the link also to the frequently asked questions. Would you like to go over them? Sorry.
Yes, actually what I wanted also to add is that if you are interested in the topic, you can join Unidive. What Eva is showing is the frequently asked questions available with answers or suggestions only in some cases. So not a definite decision yet. So if you are interested in joining the action, the current action UniDive, there is a website, and we have created also a slide which will become available. So here you have in the left the how to join link, and you can apply, and someone will read your application, and when there is interest, clearly explain the application is accepted, well, not instantaneously, let's say, but in a week or so. If you do not get an answer in a week, you should get back to us. Because this getting back to us shows real interest, and this urges us actually to accept you in the network. It's a very active network with a lot of interaction. And if verbal multi-word expression guidelines are problematic, as you saw, once we start the pilot annotation with the others, we will get into even more complicated decisions to make, and we'll see how things work. And enlarging the number of languages in the guidelines, in the corpus, in the network is one major objective of this action. So it's important you will work in a community where we target uniformity in data treatment and analysis, where we accept or we encourage uniformity, universality, but we never neglect what's language specific. And these characteristics of a language should and must be actually made well known in the analysis and in the guidelines eventually. Other languages actually may share the same characteristics, and it's important to be known. So that if Eva doesn't want to add here anything, we will make the slides available. There is also a list of references available there, and a list of links to other materials that are helpful. But essentially, the guidelines are the core of the process, let's say. So reading, trying to understand and to apply them is the key to having a corpus annotated and having a better understanding, not not making everything clear, as you noticed, but advancing, let's say, in the understanding of this language phenomenon. If you have questions now, or if you have later on, you can contact any of us or both of us, or if you really have an interest, please join. You will see it's a very nice community and very active and interactive one. So if you have questions, the floor is yours.
A big thank you for the explanations and for showing all the tutorial. It was wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you for attending, for joining the tutorial on Sunday and today as well. So as Verginica mentioned, we'll be happy to answer any questions if you contact us. Thank you for attending the conference as well. And we hope to see you at Unidive meetings or at our next, we will rely on you to come to our next conference in 2 years as well. So if there anything else, if there are any comments, questions?
I would also like to thank you and for attendance and also for participation. It's nice when we learn from each other, and I admit I found out something new too in this tutorial. So it's very helpful. It was very helpful for me as well.
Thank you for the nice talks, and now and on Sunday also. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Yes, hope to see you also in various venues or events.
Okay, thank you everyone, and goodbye from us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.